Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. Today we are going to talk about the rent market and also the buying market. So in other words, we have rent market and also buying market. Now the problem is, why is it so expensive to rent a house in Norway? Which we're going to get started with in a second. As you can see in the picture, there is an article that talks about a guy that rents an apartment. So, generally speaking, this is a guy renting, not alone, but in a collective matter, meaning like there are, let's say, 3-4 guys going together and they each pay, let's say, 5,000 or $500 each, which in total becomes like, let's say, 2,000 euro, plus minus, give or take. And why is it so expensive? So they are telling us that in this article that he is renting, which the title says a wreck, meaning that a house that's not fit to live in, but they choose to live in it anyways because apparently the housing market was so distressed. So he had to just choose that. He didn't find anything else. Well, guys, to be honest, the picture that we have here, we see here is called Björvika. And I put a map over the place and I put also a ring around it so you can see where we're talking about. What is this place that's called Björvika? Well, actually, there was no Björvika before. Before that was nothing. There was just empty land. And then they decided to build on it. And then they built what's called Björvika. Now, what is Björvika to begin with? Björvika is actually a place where it's what we call the financial district, so to speak. It's a place where there is banking offices, different retail stores, and so on and so forth, and hotels and bars and restaurant and whatnot. And they're all together in this place. And on top of the buildings, we have apartments. Well, this is no general apartment. These apartments are what we call luxury apartments. So the question is, why is it so expensive to rent or buy a house in Norway? The reason why is actually because many people, what they do is they buy a house which he has very good, let's say very good assets and very good income and so on and so forth. So what happens is he buys a house, and when he buys a house, he puts it out for rent. When he puts it out for rent, he probably has a second apartment, which I guess he has, because where is he gonna live if he rents his own apartment, right? So he rents his apartment and he has a second apartment that he lives on. So what happens is, if he gets good momentum in the rent market, he just continues that formula where he buys another house and he rents it, and he buys another one and he rents it, and he buys another one, and so forth and so forth. So this is what we call very distress on the market. And what happens is, there are people that are not interested in that. They're just interested in buying a house and living on it. So what the government should do is they should put on a restriction and say, you know what, this house that we sell should not be what we call a flip house, where you're gonna buy it and then resell it, so that they could make a stop onto this, because right now we're having a huge distress on the market where people are buying houses and they're into this what's called the flip market. Not they're not interested in buying a house to live in it, but to rather flip it. So what about the other guy that doesn't have anything? You understand? So how come the government is just gonna leave it like that and say, you know what, that's okay, you bought this house to flip it? Well, that's okay. Well, this would work in a country like America or a big country in Europe, because they have huge land areas where they can do this, but not in Norway or specifically Oslo. And this is actually true what I'm saying, because if you look in the market place and you go onto the market and you go outside Norway, or no, sorry, outside Oslo, you will see that the houses are lower. So this means that what I'm saying is right, because if it wasn't right, why are the housing cheaper outside Oslo? Why isn't the prices the same as Oslo? And this is a subject that we have to take and bring up, and bring up this subject, because what are we going to do when, you know, they're telling us that we need X amount of houses built per year so that we will apparently take off this distress on the market? But that's not going to help. If the persons that have the ability to buy these houses and flip them all the time, they're going to flip the houses, then you're never going to saturate the market, because there always will be a person that has that money to flip houses, and then he will buy them and start flipping and flipping and flipping. And what about the rest then? So this is why the market is so, we call it a fake sort of a fake we call it a fake demand, because there isn't a demand that is so high that the news are reporting, but it's rather that there are many people that are interested in these flippings, so they flip houses, and then that creates a high peak where people are telling us that this is like we are having a big housing boom market. And well, this is not true, my friends. So this is the issue that Oslo is suffering from. And if nobody does anything with it, then there's not going to be there's going to be a huge issues in the market, as you can see right now, as the links indicate. And this is not going to end very well. So now you know the truth, and follow this channel, and we will upload more news about Oslo and Norway in general. Take care, like, subscribe, and comment.